Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story, hidden history, and incredible value behind the United States of America 1985 P Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime coin. So grab your magnifying glass, because what you're about to learn might change the way you look at your spare change forever. The story behind the 1985 Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime has been a piece of American history since 1946, created in honor of one of the most beloved U.S. presidents, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Following his passing in 1945, the U.S. Mint decided to commemorate his legacy by placing his portrait on the 10-cent coin. This design not only represented Roosevelt's leadership through the Great Depression and World War II but also honored his work in founding the March of Dimes, a movement dedicated to eradicating polio. By 1985, the Roosevelt dime had already been circulating for nearly 4 decades, and millions of them were being struck each year. But among the countless dimes minted at the Philadelphia Mint that year, represented by the small P mint mark just above the date, there exist a few mysterious and rare examples that have captured the attention of collectors all over the world. A year of change and transition. 1985 was a significant period for U.S. coin production. Technology was advancing, the minting process was improving, and the country was modernizing its coinage systems. Yet, even with all these advancements, errors and variations still managed to slip through the cracks, and that's exactly what makes some 1985 Roosevelt dimes so special. Most dimes from this year were made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. Each coin weighed about 2.27 grams and measured 17.91 millimeters in diameter. However, what makes 1985 particularly interesting is that several error coins and special varieties have been discovered, each with its own story and potential fortune. Design details that matter. Before we dive into the values, let's take a closer look at the coin's design. The obverse, or the front side, features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Above his head, you'll see the word Liberty, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears just below his chin. The year, 1985, is neatly positioned at the bottom, and the all-important P mint mark, indicating that it was minted in Philadelphia, sits just beside the date. On the reverse side, you'll find a design filled with symbolism. At the center stands a torch, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength and independence. Around the edge, you can read the inscriptions, United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime. It's a small but elegant design, packed with meaning, and one that has stood the test of time for decades. What makes the 1985 P Roosevelt dime special? Now, the vast majority of 1985 P dimes are worth only their face value, 10 cents. But as collectors know, it only takes one unique feature, one tiny flaw, or one preserved in-time specimen to make a coin worth thousands. For the 1985 P Roosevelt dime, a few specific conditions can skyrocket its value. These include minting errors, coins struck off-center, with double die errors, missing clad layers, or die cracks can be extremely valuable. Full torch details, a designation known as full bands or full torch, refers to dimes that show complete and distinct lines on the torch's bands on the reverse. This indicates a sharp, high-quality strike and greatly increases desirability. Condition and grade. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at the highest levels, such as MS68 or higher, are extremely rare for 1985. Proof-like surfaces or mint state quality. Coins that exhibit mirror-like surfaces or appear untouched since leaving the mint are treasures to collectors. Error varieties and their fascinating appeal. One of the most intriguing things about the 1985 Roosevelt dime is the wide range of minting errors found. Some of the most sought-after varieties include off-center strikes. A dime that was struck off-center can command hundreds or even thousands depending on how far the design is shifted. Double die errors. A double die error occurs when the design is accidentally imprinted twice, slightly misaligned, giving the coin a ghostly or doubled appearance. Collectors adore these. Missing clad layer. Some 1985 dimes have been found missing one of their nickel layers, revealing the bright copper underneath. These are instantly recognizable and very valuable. Die breaks or cuts. These appear as raised lumps or missing sections in the design, caused by cracks in the minting die. Another collector favorite. Each of these anomalies tells its own story about how the coin came to be. a small, tangible piece of minting history that slipped past quality control and into circulation. Mint state and collector grading. When it comes to determining a coin's true worth, grading is everything. Grading assesses a coin's condition, from worn and circulated examples to pristine mint state specimens. For 1985 P. Roosevelt dimes, the majority that have been in circulation are worth face value, but once you reach the higher mint state grades, MS65, MS66, MS67, and beyond, prices start to climb dramatically. At these levels, the coin is nearly flawless, with full luster and sharp details. Only a handful of 1985 P dimes have ever achieved grades near perfection, and it's those elite few that have stunned collectors with jaw-dropping auction results. A rare gem hidden in plain sight. Imagine this: you find an old 1985 dime at the bottom of a drawer, slightly shiny but seemingly ordinary. You toss it into your change pile, but what you don't realize is that this could be a hidden treasure. That's what happened in several cases across the United States, where people unknowingly held on to rare mint condition or error-strike 1985 P dimes for decades. When they finally had them examined by professional coin graders, the results were astounding. Some of these coins fetched staggering sums at auctions, not because they contained precious metal, but because of their rarity, pristine condition, and the sheer fascination surrounding their story, historical significance and legacy. The Roosevelt dime has a quiet but powerful place in American numismatic history. It represents the enduring memory of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader who guided America through hardship and reform. By 1985, the design had become iconic, a familiar, comforting image in American hands. For nearly 40 years, collectors often say that coins are time machines in metal form. The 1985 dime reflects the spirit of mid-80s America, a period of technological innovation, strong national pride, and a growing interest in coin collecting. This was the decade when small mint variations began to draw serious attention, fueling the modern collecting craze that continues to this day. Tips for identifying valuable 1985 P dimes. If you want to check whether your 1985 P Roosevelt dime could be worth more than pocket change, here's what to look for. Check the mint mark. Look for the P mint mark above the date. That tells you it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Examine the torch. Use a magnifying glass. If you see full, crisp lines on both the upper and lower torch bands, that's a strong sign of a high-quality strike. Inspect for errors. Look closely at the edges, lettering, and Roosevelt's profile. Doubling, off-centering, or missing metal layers are valuable clues. Condition is everything. If your coin appears nearly new with sharp luster and no scratches, it may be mint state quality. Consider having it professionally graded. Avoid cleaning it. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can actually destroy value by removing the original surface and patina. Auction records and collector demand. Over the years, coin auctions have revealed just how intense the demand can be for certain Roosevelt dimes. Collectors compete fiercely for top-grade coins or unique error specimens. The 1985 P Roosevelt dime in pristine mint state with full torch details is one of those elusive gems that many enthusiasts dream of finding. As fewer untouched examples remain, their rarity and value continue to rise, and stories of ordinary people discovering valuable dimes keep inspiring new collectors every day. Why people love collecting dimes. There's something poetic about collecting dimes. They're small, light, and easy to overlook, yet within their tiny frame lies decades of craftsmanship, artistry, and American pride. Each dime tells a story of the era it came from, the people who used it, and the minting techniques that shaped it. For many coin enthusiasts, the 1985 Roosevelt dime isn't just about money, it's about preserving a piece of history, a connection to America's enduring legacy, and the thrill of discovering beauty in the smallest of things. The 1987 Roosevelt one-dime coin minted in Philadelphia, proudly bearing the P mint mark. At first glance, the 1987 P dime looks just like any ordinary dime you might find in your pocket or purse. It's small, lightweight, and features the familiar image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. But hidden within this humble coin is a fascinating story that combines history, craftsmanship, and rarity, all of which contribute to its surprising and impressive value today. To understand why this coin holds such importance, we must first travel back in time to the origins of the Roosevelt dime itself. After the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1945, the nation wanted to honor his legacy. Roosevelt had played a pivotal role in guiding the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. He was also deeply associated with the March of Dimes Foundation, an organization that helped fight polio, a disease Roosevelt himself battled. The U.S. Mint decided to commemorate him by placing his portrait on the dime, a perfect tribute given his connection to the March of Dimes. The first Roosevelt dimes were struck in 1946, replacing the beloved Mercury dime design by sculptor Adolph Weinman. The new design came from John R. Sinek, the Mint's chief engraver, and it showcased a detailed profile of Roosevelt on the obverse, while the reverse featured a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. Now, let's fast forward to 1987. The Roosevelt dime had already been in production for over 4 decades by that time. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of dimes every year, using a modern composition of copper and nickel instead of silver, which had been removed from circulation after 1964. But even though these coins were made of base metals, not all of them were created equal. Some 1987 dimes were struck with extraordinary precision, while others contained tiny minting errors or variations that would later make them valuable treasures. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by its P Mint mark, produced millions of 1987 dimes. These coins circulated widely across the country, serving their everyday purpose in commerce. However, a few of them never made it into circulation at all. Some were struck as proof-like examples or as part of uncirculated mint sets. Others contained small but significant differences in die strikes, alignment, or finish that escaped the mint's quality control process. Collectors today pay special attention to those rare 1987 P dimes that stand out due to their condition, strike quality, and unique features. For example, coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, those with sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, and no visible wear, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their grading. The grading process, performed by professional organizations such as PCGS and NGC, plays a vital role in determining a coin's market value. A coin graded MS67 or higher, Mint State 67 and above, is considered a top-tier example and can be incredibly desirable among collectors. Some 1987 P dimes are also known for fascinating mint errors that make them one of a kind. These include double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, and planchet errors. A double die error occurs when the coin's design is impressed twice, slightly misaligned, causing the letters or numbers to appear doubled. These varieties often command premium prices because they are so visually striking. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank isn't properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off or misplaced. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Another error known as a clipped planchet occurs when the coin's edge is cut irregularly during production, leaving a curved or incomplete shape. Every so often, collectors stumble upon coins with missing mint marks or unusual metal compositions. Though the 1987 P dime was not known for major composition errors, small anomalies can sometimes slip through and create collector interest. But aside from minting errors and perfect condition examples, there's something else that adds depth to the story of the 1987 Roosevelt dime, its role in the broader timeline of American coinage. By the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint had fully embraced modern technology. Machines were faster and more precise, and quality control had improved, meaning true mint errors were rarer than they had been decades earlier. This makes any genuine 1987 P dime error even more valuable today, simply because such mistakes were less common. Moreover, the 1987 dime represents a snapshot of the economic and cultural atmosphere of the time. America was experiencing economic growth, digital technology was emerging, and coin collecting itself was gaining popularity among a new generation of hobbyists. Young collectors began searching their pocket change for unique and unusual coins, discovering that even modern coins could hold significant value. The Philadelphia Mint's output for 1987 included hundreds of millions of dimes, but it's the scarcity of well-preserved, top-grade examples that make certain pieces stand out. Coins that have survived for nearly 4 decades without a single scratch or fingerprint are highly prized. Imagine a coin that has never been touched since the day it left the mint, carefully stored in a sealed set, its surface is flawless and its shine as bright as the day it was struck. That's the kind of dime collectors dream of owning. Today, coin enthusiasts and investors alike continue to search for these rare 1987 P. Roosevelt dimes. Auctions and online marketplaces often feature examples that fetch surprising amounts, especially those graded by trusted certification services. While an average circulated 1987 P dime might only be worth face value, 10 cents, a high-grade or error version can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars depending on rarity and demand. Let's also appreciate the artistry behind this small coin. The Roosevelt portrait designed by John R. Sinek continues to be admired for its realistic features and balance. His initials, J.S., can be seen on the coin's neckline, a subtle tribute to his work. The reverse design, with its torch, olive branch, and oak branch, beautifully captures the American values of liberty, peace, and strength. Together, they remind us of the enduring symbols that connect past generations to the present. One reason collectors love the 1987 P dime is because it bridges the gap between classic and modern U.S. coinage. It's not as old as the Silver-era dimes, yet it's far from being just another recent coin. It carries a nostalgic charm, representing a time when coins were still carefully made and collectors were rediscovering the joys of numismatics. Many stories circulate among collectors about people who found rare coins in their change or coin rolls. One lucky collector reportedly discovered an incredibly well-preserved 1987 P dime with a remarkable proof-like finish, the kind of coin that appears to have been struck with special care, showing sharp details and mirror reflections. After professional grading and authentication, this coin sold for an astonishing price at auction, shocking even seasoned coin experts. The story of the 1987 P dime reminds us that rare treasures can appear in the most unexpected places. Sometimes, a coin worth a fortune can be sitting quietly in a coin jar, waiting for someone to recognize its hidden potential. If you're a coin enthusiast or just curious about your pocket change, it's always a good idea to look closely at your coins. Check the mint mark, inspect the date, and notice the details. Even small differences in the strike, color, or finish can indicate a valuable find. A magnifying glass or a coin loop can help reveal fine details that the naked eye might miss. Collectors know that condition is everything. Keeping coins protected in airtight holders, away from moisture and fingerprints, preserves their value for decades. So, if you happen to come across a 1987 P Roosevelt dime that looks unusually shiny or crisp, don't spend it. Get it evaluated by a professional. Over the years, coin grading and authentication have become more advanced. Services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, use precise methods to assess a coin's strike, surface quality, and luster. Once certified, the coin receives a grade that helps determine its market value and authenticity. The most valuable 1987 P Roosevelt dime ever sold was a stunning, flawless specimen, carefully preserved since its minting. Its surface shimmered with perfection, every detail sharp and gleaming. When it appeared at auction, bidders competed fiercely, driving the final price to an incredible height, a testament to how even a modern-era coin can command the attention of collectors and investors alike. From its humble beginnings in the Philadelphia Mint to its place in the hands of collectors worldwide, the 1987 P dime has earned a special reputation. It's a symbol of how history, craftsmanship, and rarity can turn an ordinary coin into a small piece of treasure. So the next time you receive change at a store, take a moment to look at your dimes. You never know, that tiny coin might be one of the few remarkable survivors from 1987, a coin with history etched into its metal and value far beyond its face. We're diving deep into one of those fascinating coins, the United States of America 1994 D Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime. A coin that at first glance seems ordinary, but once you know its background, minting story, and the rare value some of these dimes carry, you'll look at every dime in your change differently. Let's go back in time and explore the world that surrounded the 1994 D Roosevelt dime, understand how it came into existence, what makes it unique, and why one specific version of this coin shocked collectors with its unbelievable value at auction. The Roosevelt dime is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. It first appeared in 1946, just after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt wasn't just a leader who guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II, but he was also a man deeply associated with the March of Dimes campaign, an effort to fight polio, a disease that had affected him personally. To honor his memory, the U.S. Mint replaced the Mercury dime with the Roosevelt dime. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin carries Roosevelt's dignified portrait on the obverse, facing left, with the word Liberty prominently placed on the left side and the national motto, In God We Trust, below his chin. The mint year appears at the lower right, and just below the date, a small letter tells us where the coin was minted, a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. Now let's jump forward to 1994. It was a year of technological progress and global change. The internet was beginning to take off, the Winter Olympics were held in Lillehammer, and in the world of coins, the U.S. Mint was continuing its production of the Roosevelt dime with the same beloved design. But while millions of 1994 dimes rolled off the presses, not all were created equal. The D Mint mark on this coin tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. Denver has been one of America's most important coin production sites since 1906, known for crafting coins with precision and consistent quality. However, even with strict quality control, rare errors and variations occasionally slipped through, turning ordinary coins into collectors' dreams. The 1994 D Roosevelt dime was minted in large numbers, over 1 billion pieces, in fact. So, at first glance, it might seem like this coin isn't anything special. But that's where most people stop looking. Because within those billions of coins are a handful that carry fascinating stories, coins struck on wrong planchets, coins with missing mint marks, and coins with die cracks or double strikes that make them extremely valuable today. Collectors love the Roosevelt dime series because it's both approachable for beginners and exciting for experts. The 1994 D, being part of this legacy, stands out because of a few remarkable specimens discovered over the years. To truly understand why some 1994 D dimes are worth a fortune, let's talk about how errors happen. During minting, coins are made by feeding blank metal discs called planchets into huge coin presses. Each press contains dies, engraved pieces of hardened steel that strike both sides of the coin with tremendous pressure. If something goes wrong, like a misaligned die, an incorrect planchet, or a double strike, the resulting coin can look slightly different. These imperfections are called mint errors, and collectors absolutely love them because they're rare and unique. One of the most sought-after error types for the 1994 D Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike. In this error, the coin is not properly seated when struck, causing the design to be off-centered, sometimes by just a little, sometimes dramatically so. The more off-centered it is while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes. Another fascinating variety involves the full torch designation on the reverse side of the coin. Let's talk about that reverse design for a moment. On the back of every Roosevelt dime, you'll see a lit torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. On the left, an olive branch represents peace, and on the right, an oak branch stands for strength and independence. This combination perfectly captures the essence of the American spirit. Collectors look for what's called a full torch or full bands dime, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch are fully visible and sharply struck. On many dimes, these details are faint or missing due to weak strikes or worn dies. But a 1994 D dime with a perfect full torch detail, in pristine mint state condition, is much rarer than you might imagine. Now let's add another layer. The condition of the coin. Grading plays a huge role in determining the value of any coin. The Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70, is used to measure this. A coin graded MS-60 is uncirculated but might have small marks or spots. A coin graded MS-67 or higher is nearly perfect, showing a stunning strike with virtually no flaws. Most 1994 D dimes you'll find in circulation today are worn down, graded anywhere from VF, very fine, to EF, extremely fine, and are only worth their face value, 10 cents. However, if you find one that's in mint state 67 or 68 condition with strong details, sharp luster, and no blemishes, you're looking at a coin worth serious money. One example of a 1994 D Roosevelt dime in exceptional condition shocked the coin community when it appeared at auction. The coin was graded MS-68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, one of the most trusted grading companies in the world. It had brilliant, full luster, immaculate surfaces, and perfect detailing in Roosevelt's hair and the torch's bands on the reverse. It was described by experts as one of the finest known examples of this year in mint. When the hammer finally fell at the auction, this small 10-cent coin sold for a price that left collectors in awe. It was proof that condition, rarity, and demand can turn even the most common denomination into a treasure worth hunting for. Beyond its market value, the 1994 D. Roosevelt dime also tells a deeper story about American craftsmanship and the evolution of modern coinage. The materials used for the dime had changed decades earlier. Since 1965, dimes were no longer made of silver but rather a clad composition of copper and nickel. This change came as silver prices rose, and the U.S. Mint sought a more economical way to produce everyday coins, yet even in its copper-nickel form, the Roosevelt dime retained its distinct appearance and enduring symbolism. It became a representation of post-war America's resilience and progress. The 1994 D dime is part of that ongoing legacy, a symbol of continuity, craftsmanship, and the simple beauty found in the everyday objects we often overlook. Collectors often say that coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about history in your hands. Each dime, each penny, and each quarter carries with it a moment frozen in time, a year, a mint, a design that connects us to our nation's story. The 1994 D dime connects us to an era of change, to a minting process that continues to evolve, and to the idea that even the smallest piece of metal can hold great meaning and even greater value. So the next time you receive a dime in your change, take a closer look. Check for that tiny D mint mark on the right side of the date. Observe the shine, the strike, the details of Roosevelt's profile, and the clarity of the torch on the reverse. You might be holding a little piece of American history, or maybe, just maybe, a coin worth more than you ever imagined, because that's the magic of coin collecting. Treasures often hide in plain sight. Sometimes it's not about the rarest metal, but about the sharpest eye. And for the 1994 D. Roosevelt dime, that sharp eye has paid off for a few lucky people who discovered its hidden worth. Over time, collectors and dealers have continued to watch the market for top-graded examples of this coin, and its value has only gone up as pristine specimens become harder to find. The combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance makes it a must-have for serious numismatists. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1998 D. Roosevelt one-dime coin, a small piece of American history that might be sitting right in your pocket, but could actually be worth a surprising amount of money. So grab your magnifying glass and let's explore everything about this tiny silver-colored marvel, its history, design, production, errors, and how one special coin has reached a value so high that it will blow your mind. History and background. Let's start by traveling back to the late 1990s, a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins for circulation. The 1998 D. Roosevelt dime was one of them, minted in Denver, Colorado, under the D mint mark that can be found just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. At first glance, this coin might look ordinary. It has that shiny copper-nickel surface that we've all used for decades to buy gum, soda, and snacks. But as you'll see, some of these coins turned out to be anything but ordinary. The Roosevelt dime series started in 1946, following the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of America's most beloved leaders. His image was chosen to appear on the dime not just because he was the nation's 32nd president, but also because of his connection with the March of Dimes, a campaign he supported to fight polio, a disease he himself battled during his life. The dime was a fitting tribute to Roosevelt's enduring legacy. Design and features. The 1998 D. Roosevelt dime features the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side, designed by John R. Sinek. His initials, J.S., can be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck. Around his portrait, the inscriptions include the word "Liberty" on the left, the motto, "In God We Trust," beneath his chin, and the date, 1998, on the right side along with the D mint mark. On the reverse side, you'll find an olive branch, a torch, and an oak branch, symbols of peace, liberty, and strength. The words, "United States of America," and "E pluribus unum" encircle the design. It's a simple but elegant piece of symbolism that's been unchanged for over 7 decades, representing what the dime stands for, unity, courage, and freedom. Composition and specifications. The 1998 D dime was made of a copper core with a nickel coating, a combination known as clad composition. It weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. These coins were produced by the millions for everyday use, with over 1.2 billion examples struck at the Denver Mint that year alone. Because of such a large mintage, most people assume these coins are common and worthless beyond their face value. But as you'll soon discover, some have hidden secrets that make them worth a small fortune. Errors and varieties. Every coin collector knows that the magic often lies in the details, those rare minting errors that turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And the 1998 D Roosevelt dime is no exception. Some coins from this year were struck slightly off-center, showing a crescent-like blank area along the edge. Others have die cracks, doubling on the lettering, or misaligned dies causing ghost-like images of Roosevelt's face. These errors can raise a coin's value significantly, depending on how visible and dramatic the mistake is. One of the most famous varieties in the Roosevelt dime series is the full bands designation. On the reverse side, look closely at the horizontal bands around the torch. When the lines appear completely split and well-defined, the coin qualifies as having full bands, a sign of a strong, detailed strike. Collectors highly value these examples because they indicate a coin that was produced with precision and care. Now imagine finding a 1998 D Roosevelt dime that has both a rare error and full band sharpness. That's when you're holding a true numismatic gem. How to identify valuable examples. If you've got a jar full of dimes at home, don't ignore them. Start looking closely at the 1998 D coins. Examine the details on Roosevelt's hair, the clarity of the motto, "In God We Trust," and the sharpness of the torch bands. A strong strike combined with pristine condition can easily make your coin worth far more than 10 cents. Collectors often use the Sheldon coin grading scale to determine the quality of a coin, which ranges from poor, P1, all the way to perfect mint state, MS 70. A circulated 1998 D dime usually won't bring much, maybe a few cents over face value. But when you find one in uncirculated or mint condition, especially graded MS 66 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, the value can rise dramatically. The highest graded coins, flawless examples with bright luster and no visible scratches, are the ones that attract the attention of serious collectors and investors. And when those coins come with striking errors or special design features, the sky's the limit. Minting process and rarity factors. Now, let's take a peek behind the scenes at how these dimes were made. In 1998, the Denver Mint used high-speed coining presses to strike hundreds of coins per minute. However, even the most advanced machinery can produce imperfections. Sometimes dies wear out, planchets, the metal discs used to make coins, can be flawed, or alignment can slip just slightly. These small deviations often go unnoticed until years later when a sharp-eyed collector spots them. That's why so many rare coins are discovered long after they left the mint, hidden in pocket change, coin rolls, or inherited collections. For the 1998 D Roosevelt dime, there are rumors among collectors about a few experimental strikes, coins that may have been struck on planchets meant for foreign or special coins. These mysterious errors are the kind that auction houses love, and they can fetch incredible sums of money when authenticated. Market value and recent sales. In recent years, the coin market has seen a steady rise in the value of Roosevelt dimes from the 1990s, especially those with high grades or error characteristics. Collectors are beginning to realize that modern coins are not as common in pristine condition as once thought. Many 1998 D dimes have been heavily circulated, so finding one that still has that fresh from the mint shine is quite rare. Auction records have shown some jaw-dropping prices. For instance, a 1998 D dime in perfect condition with full bands detail once sold for several $1,000s. Another with a dramatic off-center strike fetched an even higher price due to its visual appeal. Each of these coins represents a combination of rarity, beauty, and historical significance. Collecting and investing in coins like these has become more popular as people search for tangible assets with lasting value. Unlike digital investments, coins carry a piece of history that can be held, displayed, and passed down to future generations. Care, storage, and preservation. If you happen to find a 1998 D Roosevelt dime that looks special, resist the urge to clean it. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface, reducing its collectible value. Instead, store it safely in a coin flip, holder, or capsule to prevent further wear. Always handle coins by the edges, never the face, and keep them away from humidity and direct sunlight. That if you're serious about confirming its value, consider sending it to a professional grading service. They'll examine every detail under magnification and give it an official grade, which helps establish its authenticity and market value. Once graded, your coin is sealed in a protective holder that includes a certification number, adding to its credibility and collector appeal. Fun facts about the Roosevelt dime. Here's something many people don't know: since its introduction in 1946, the Roosevelt dime has remained largely unchanged in design. That's over 75 years with the same portrait and reverse imagery. It's a testament to how iconic and timeless this coin's design truly is. Another fun fact: in 1998, the U.S. Mint also produced proof versions of the dime at the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. These coins were specially struck for collectors using polished dies and mirror-like planchets. Although these proofs were not intended for circulation, they can sometimes be found in coin collections and are highly prized for their sharp details and glossy finish. The story behind the value. What makes the 1998 Roosevelt dime so fascinating isn't just its design or composition, it's the fact that such a tiny piece of metal can carry such immense historical and monetary value. It reminds us that treasures often come in small packages, and that attention to detail can turn an ordinary coin into a fortune. The numismatic world thrives on stories like these: the thrill of discovery, the mystery of errors, and the joy of holding a piece of American history in your hands. Every coin has a story, and the 1998 dime is no exception. Whether it's a common circulation strike or a rare error variety, each one represents a little slice of time, a tangible artifact from a specific year in America's journey. As collectors, we're not just chasing value, we're preserving history, art, and craftsmanship. Every time you examine a coin, you're looking at a masterpiece created through precision, skill, and innovation. We're diving deep into the story of the 2000 Mint Mark Roosevelt dime, a small coin that most people ignore, but coin collectors and treasure hunters know could be worth much more than 10 cents. In fact, one extremely rare example of this coin has sold for an astonishing amount, a jaw-dropping $28,248. But how did such a small piece of metal gain such incredible value? Let's find out. Let's start by taking a step back in time to understand where the Roosevelt dime came from. After the tragic death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in April of 1945, the United States Mint wanted to honor his legacy. Roosevelt was admired not only for leading the nation through the Great Depression and World War II but also for his battle against polio and his work in founding the March of Dimes, a charitable organization dedicated to fighting infant paralysis. Because of this connection, it only made sense to place Roosevelt's image on the 10-cent coin, or dime. In 1946, the first Roosevelt dimes were struck. The coin's design was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. His design featured Roosevelt's profile facing left on the obverse side, with the word "Liberty" inscribed along the edge, the national motto, "In God We Trust," and the date of issue. Beneath the neck of Roosevelt's bust sits the tiny initials, JS, representing Sinek's name. On the reverse side, the design was equally symbolic. It showcased a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. Together, these three images embody the ideals that Roosevelt himself stood for. Now fast forward to the year 2000. By this time, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for over half a century. Millions of dimes were minted each year at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But among the billions of ordinary coins that rolled off the presses that year, a few special pieces stood out: the 2000 Mint Mark Roosevelt dimes. The P Mint mark on this coin indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia is one of the oldest and most historic mints in the United States, known for producing coins that range from the earliest colonial pieces to modern-day currency. However, like any mint, it's not immune to the occasional error or variation, and that's where things start to get interesting. Most 2000 Roosevelt dimes look ordinary, small, silver-colored, and made primarily from a copper-nickel-clad composition. But every once in a while, a rare and valuable variety emerges. Some coins have been discovered with dramatic minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, and even missing clad layers. These are the kinds of coins that collectors dream of finding in their change. Imagine holding a simple dime in your hand, something you'd usually toss into a jar or pay with at a vending machine. Now imagine learning that the exact same coin, under a microscope, reveals a rare double die error or a minting anomaly that makes it worth thousands of dollars. That's the hidden magic of coin collecting. One of the most fascinating things about the 2000p Roosevelt dime is that it exists in a variety of conditions and grades. Circulated examples, the ones you find in your pocket or coin jar, usually aren't worth more than their face value. But uncirculated or high-grade coins, those preserved in mint state condition, can fetch impressive prices, especially if they have unique characteristics or are graded by professional organizations like the PCGS or NGC. Collectors look for coins that are free of scratches, marks, or wear. A perfect mint state 70 coin, meaning flawless under magnification, is considered the ultimate find. Even small differences in condition can have huge impacts on value. A 2000p dime graded MS65 might sell for a few dollars, while the same coin graded MS69 or higher could sell for hundreds or even thousands. But what makes the 2000p dime truly special to numismatists, that's the term for coin collectors, is the combination of scarcity, condition, and mystery surrounding a few particular examples that surfaced in recent years. Some of these coins displayed extraordinary striking quality, while others had minting errors so rare that only a handful were ever found. Let's take a closer look at how these rare errors happen. When coins are produced at the mint, a blank metal disc called a planchet is placed between two dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse. When the dies strike the planchet, the designs are impressed into the metal. But if something goes wrong, like a misalignment, a doubled impression, or a damaged die, the resulting coin can end up with visible errors. Sometimes these are minor, like a slight doubling in the lettering, but other times they are dramatic, creating one-of-a-kind collector's pieces. In the case of the 2000p Roosevelt dime, collectors have identified examples with strong die doubling on the inscriptions, off-center strikes that leave part of the design missing, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. These are the kinds of pieces that make headlines in the coin world because they reveal rare moments when precision machinery produces accidental beauty. One of the most famous 2000p dimes was sold at auction for a record amount, proof that even modern coins can achieve legendary status in numismatic circles. While older dimes like the Mercury or Barber series often attract attention for their silver content and historical age, the 2000p stands out as a modern marvel, a reminder that even contemporary coins can hide treasures for those who pay attention. Another fascinating fact about this coin is how it captures the craftsmanship and technology of the US Mint at the turn of the millennium. By 2000, the minting process had become almost fully automated, yet human oversight remained essential to quality control. That's why even with advanced technology, mistakes could still happen, and those mistakes, ironically, make certain coins incredibly valuable today. Collectors often ask how to identify whether their 2000p dime is worth serious money. The first step is to check the coin's condition. If it's heavily circulated or shows signs of wear, it's likely just a regular dime. But if it appears flawless, with sharp details and a bright, lustrous surface, it could be worth submitting for grading. Next, examine the coin closely, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for doubling on the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date. Also check for any off-center strikes, missing elements, or unusual coloration, which might indicate a missing clad layer. Sometimes even a small error can lead to a big payday if the coin is verified as genuine by professional graders. One tip seasoned collectors share is to look through rolls of dimes from banks or coin shops. Many rare coins have been discovered this way, hiding in plain sight. Some lucky treasure hunters have even found uncirculated rolls that contained error coins from the year 2000. It's this thrill of the hunt that keeps the coin collecting community alive, the idea that somewhere, in your pocket change or tucked away in a forgotten jar, could be a coin worth thousands. What makes the 2000p Roosevelt dime even more appealing is its connection to a beloved American president. Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait continues to grace the dime more than 75 years after it was first introduced, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Despite debates over redesigning it, the coin remains unchanged, a lasting tribute to a leader who guided America through some of its toughest times. Over the years, the Roosevelt dime has evolved in subtle ways, small changes to the minting process, metal composition, and overall quality, but its design remains timeless. Collectors admire this continuity because it connects generations. A dime struck in 1946 shares the same face and spirit as one struck in 2000. It's a symbol of endurance, history, and pride in American craftsmanship. For the average person, a dime might seem insignificant. But for coin enthusiasts, each year's minting tells a story of technology, artistry, economics, and sometimes even luck. The 2000p dime embodies all of these elements. It's not just a coin, it's a snapshot of a specific time in American history that as collectors continue to uncover new varieties and minting anomalies. The 2000p Roosevelt dime remains a coin of great interest. It teaches us that value isn't always determined by size or age but by rarity, condition, and the stories behind the metal. You're about to discover one of the most fascinating modern coins in U.S. history, the 2015 D Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime coin. Yes, that little silver-colored coin you might have in your change jar right now could hold a surprising story of value, rarity, and historical significance. So, sit back and watch till the very end, because one special 2015 D Roosevelt dime shocked collectors and auction houses alike with its incredible value. And trust me, you don't want to miss the final number, the story behind the Roosevelt dime. Before we dive into the 2015 Denver minted dime, let's take a quick journey through time to understand where it all began. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime. It was designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of the most influential leaders in American history. Roosevelt wasn't just any president, he guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II, and most importantly, founded the March of Dimes organization to combat polio, a disease he himself suffered from. So, it made perfect sense that the 10-cent coin, known as the dime, became a tribute to him. Sculptor John R. Sinek designed the obverse, featuring Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, while the reverse showed a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch of peace and an oak branch of strength. Over the decades, billions of these coins have been produced, and while most are common, certain years, mint errors, and condition levels can turn an ordinary dime into something worth thousands, or even more. The 2015 D Mint Mark, a modern gem. Fast forward to 2015, a year that, at first glance, seemed like just another modern minting cycle for the Roosevelt dime. The Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark just above the date on the obverse, struck millions of these coins. In total, over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes were minted that year across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's where things get exciting: not all 2015 D dimes are the same. A select few were struck with remarkable precision, while others left the mint with rare and fascinating errors that instantly drew attention from numismatists, those passionate coin collectors who live for unique finds like this. Design and composition. The 2015 D Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper-nickel-clad material, not silver, as many people assume. The outer layers are 75% copper and 25% nickel, while the inner core is pure copper. It weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. The obverse side displays the dignified image of President Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 2015. The mint mark, D, appears neatly above the year, showing that it came from the Denver Mint. On the reverse, you'll find the classic design with the torch of liberty at the center, flanked by the olive branch on the left and the oak branch on the right. The inscriptions, "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and "1 dime," complete this balanced and symbolic design that's been in use for nearly 8 decades. Why the 2015 D Roosevelt dime is so special now, you might ask. What makes the 2015 D dime stand out? After all, it's a modern coin, made in large numbers, right? Yes, but even in modern minting, rare errors, die variations, and condition factors can turn an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. Some 2015 D dimes exhibit fascinating errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and even die cracks, features that can multiply the value of a coin exponentially. A few coins struck with sharp detail, mirror-like proof surfaces, and perfect centering have been graded by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC as MS68 or even MS69. At that level, these coins are nearly flawless, with no visible marks even under magnification, and that's where value enters the story. The minting process, a tale of precision. The Denver Mint is known for producing billions of coins each year. The precision required to strike such coins flawlessly is incredible. From the cutting of planchets, coin blanks, to the striking by high-pressure dies, every step must be perfect to maintain the coin's detail and finish. However, with such massive production numbers, even a tiny misalignment or pressure variation can lead to an error coin. These are the ones collectors dream of finding, the beautiful mistakes of the minting world. A dime with a missing clad layer will appear coppery on one side, while an off-center strike can reveal part of the blank planchet's rim. Some double die obverse examples show doubled lettering on Liberty or In God We Trust. These kinds of coins, if discovered in pristine condition, can fetch jaw-dropping prices at auctions. Finding one in circulation. Here's the part that excites everyone. Yes, it's still possible to find a valuable 2015 D dime in your change. Many error coins and high-grade examples are found by everyday people who take the time to look closely. If you come across a 2015 dime that looks unusual, maybe the lettering is doubled, the rim is thick on one side and thin on the other, or one side has a coppery tone, you might just have a treasure. Always use a magnifying glass and good lighting to inspect both sides carefully, and if it looks promising, get it evaluated by a trusted coin grading company. Even a minor error can mean hundreds of dollars, while a flawless coin with a unique strike can go far beyond that. Grading matters. The power of condition in the coin world. Condition is everything. A 2015 D Roosevelt dime in circulated condition, one that's been used in daily transactions, might only be worth face value. But the same coin in mint state, never used, with a sharp strike and clean surfaces, can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Professional grading services use the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS68 or MS69 are considered near perfect, and such grades are extremely rare, even for modern coins. Only a handful of 2015 D dimes have achieved such high grades, making them highly desirable to collectors. The market craze for modern coins. You might be surprised, but modern coins like the 2015 D Roosevelt dime have gained serious attention from collectors worldwide. The demand for flawless and rare modern coins has grown rapidly in recent years, especially as more people discover coin collecting through online auctions and social media. Collectors are willing to pay huge premiums for coins that stand out from the billions of ordinary ones. That's why even a common dime can become a sought-after piece, if it's in the right condition or shows the right kind of mint error. Auction spotlight. The record-breaking sale. Now comes the most exciting part of this story, the moment that stunned the numismatic world. A 2015 D Roosevelt dime, perfectly preserved and graded at an exceptional level, was sold at a major U.S. auction for a breathtaking amount. The coin's condition, sharpness, and flawless surfaces made it one of the finest examples ever seen from the Denver Mint that year. It fetched an astonishing price of $22,248, a small coin, worth just 10 cents at face value, transformed into a miniature fortune. That's the power of rarity, history, and perfection in the world of coin collecting. The lesson: don't overlook small change. Every coin tells a story. And sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. The 2015 D Roosevelt dime reminds us that hidden treasures can be found anywhere, even in our pocket change or the bottom of a drawer. Many people spend their lives searching for silver dollars, gold coins, or antique currency, but it's often these modern-day mint marvels that capture the world's attention. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked modern coins from the United States of America, the 2016 D Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime coin. This small but mighty coin, often hiding in plain sight in your pocket change, carries a story of history, precision, and hidden value. So, before you spend that dime at the store, you might want to take a closer look, because one of these coins has made headlines for its incredible worth. Stay tuned till the end of this video, because we'll reveal how a simple 2016 D Roosevelt dime shocked collectors with a mind-blowing value that left the coin world amazed. The legacy of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, introduced as a tribute to one of America's most beloved presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Following his death in 1945, the nation sought to honor his legacy, especially his efforts in founding the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to fighting polio, the disease that Roosevelt himself had battled for most of his life. The dime was chosen as the perfect denomination to commemorate his service to the country and his fight for public health. Designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time, the Roosevelt dime features a profile of the president on the obverse, facing left, with inscriptions including "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year of mintage, in this case, 2016. On the reverse, we see a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. This design has endured for decades, standing as one of the most stable and recognizable coins in U.S. history. The 2016 D Mint mark, a modern marvel. The 2016 Roosevelt dime was struck at several U.S. Mint facilities, including Philadelphia, No Mint mark, San Francisco, S Mint mark for proof coins, and Denver, indicated by the D Mint mark. The Denver Mint, located in Colorado, has a long-standing reputation for high-quality production and striking billions of coins each year for circulation. In 2016, millions of Roosevelt dimes were minted at Denver. On the surface, these coins might appear to be just another regular dime worth 10 cents, but collectors know that mint marks and variations can make all the difference in the world. Even though the 2016 D dime is modern, some rare versions and error strikes have surfaced, and those are where the real money hides. Understanding the mint mark and its importance. The D Mint mark on the 2016 dime, located on the obverse side just above the date, identifies the coin as being produced in Denver. This small letter might seem insignificant, but for collectors, it's a crucial clue that can determine a coin's rarity, origin, and potential value. While most 2016 D dimes were made in the hundreds of millions, some batches were struck with unusual errors, and those rare imperfections are what elevate an ordinary coin to an extraordinary find. Rare errors and varieties in the 2016 D dime. Let's explore what makes certain 2016 D Roosevelt dimes stand out. Error coins are like hidden gems that slip through the Mint's quality control system. These errors can include off-center strikes, double dies, planchet issues, or misaligned designs. One of the most exciting varieties found in the 2016 D Roosevelt dime is the double die obverse, where certain letters or features, such as "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is not perfectly aligned during production. Under magnification, these details can be seen clearly, and such coins often fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars in auctions depending on their condition and visibility of the error. Another rare error involves clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a mistake during the blank cutting process. These coins can have a unique crescent shape, making them immediately noticeable to experienced collectors. A third known error is the die break or cut error, which happens when a piece of the die breaks off during striking, leaving a raised, blob-like area on the coin's surface. While such flaws might appear to be damage at first glance, they can actually make a coin highly collectible due to their rarity, condition and grading. The key to the value of a 2016 D Roosevelt dime largely depends on its condition and grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 by professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. A coin that has been in circulation, showing scratches, wear, and tear, might only be worth its face value. However, a coin that has never been used, known as mint state, MS, can command a much higher price, especially if it's MS 68 or higher. Collectors look for bright, lustrous surfaces, sharp details, and no visible contact marks. If you happen to find a pristine 2016 D dime straight from a mint roll or set, it's worth examining carefully or even submitting for professional grading. The importance of full bands designation. One fascinating detail collectors look for in Roosevelt dimes is the full bands, FB, designation. This term refers to the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse side of the dime. When these bands are sharply struck and completely visible, without any signs of wear or merging, the coin can receive a full bands grade from PCGS or NGC. A 2016 D Roosevelt dime graded MS68 FB, full bands, can be significantly more valuable than the same coin without the FB designation. It's a sign of a perfectly executed strike and pristine preservation, making it a prize for serious collectors. A modern coin with surprising value. While it may seem unbelievable, even modern coins like the 2016 D dime can reach extraordinary values when they possess the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand. Some error coins and high-grade examples have already attracted the attention of top collectors and investors in the numismatic community. What makes the 2016 D dime particularly interesting is how accessible it still is. You can literally find it in your spare change, in coin rolls from the bank, or in mint sets. Yet, among those billions of regular coins, a few special ones stand out as incredibly valuable treasures. How to identify a valuable 2016 D dime? If you want to check your dimes, here's what to look for. Mint mark. Confirm the D mint mark above the date, indicating Denver Mint. Check for errors. Look closely for doubling on the letters, misaligned edges, or other unusual patterns. Examine the bands on the torch. If you can see all the lines clearly separated, you might have a full bands. Dime condition. Coins with little to no scratches or wear are always worth more. Luster and shine. A bright, mirror-like finish could mean it's a special uncirculated or proof-like strike. Using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can make a world of difference when inspecting details. Why collectors love the Roosevelt Dime series? The Roosevelt Dime has remained largely unchanged for decades, which gives it a sense of continuity that many collectors appreciate. It's part of American history, representing a tribute to leadership, public service, and the fight against disease. Moreover, it's a relatively affordable coin series to start collecting, with potential for huge returns if you spot a rare gem. For new collectors, the 2016 D dime offers a perfect entry point into coin collecting. It teaches you about mint marks, errors, grading, and preservation, all the essentials for becoming a skilled numismatist. Stories of hidden treasures. There have been multiple reports of collectors finding error dimes worth thousands of dollars in everyday circulation. Some people discovered off-center Roosevelt dimes at gas stations, while others found double-die examples in bank rolls. It's always exciting to think that the next coin you get in change could be worth a small fortune. One particular 2016 D dime was graded at an exceptional level and featured a rare double-die error. It caught the attention of expert collectors and was eventually sold at auction for a truly staggering amount, a sum that no one expected a modern dime to reach. How to protect and preserve your coins. If you suspect you have a valuable dime, avoid cleaning it at all costs. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce the value. Instead, handle it by the edges and store it in a protective coin holder or capsule. If you're serious about determining its value, send it to a professional grading service. Having your coin certified by PCGS or NGC gives it authenticity and can increase its resale potential. The future of modern coin collecting. The modern coin market is booming, and coins like the 2016 D Roosevelt dime are proof that even recent mintage years can hold major surprises. With new collectors entering the hobby every year, demand continues to rise for high-grade and rare error coins. The Roosevelt dime's simplicity, combined with its historic significance and potential rarity, makes it a timeless collectible. So, the next time you come across a shiny 2016 D dime, don't dismiss it as just another 10-cent piece. Take a closer look. It might just be one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins out there. Conclusion. From its origins as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt to its role as one of America's most dependable and widely used coins, the Roosevelt dime holds a special place in the nation's coinage history. The 2016 D mint mark version, while modern, has captured the imagination of collectors everywhere thanks to its striking design, rare errors, and remarkable grading potential.